My name's Jakub. I'm an alcoholic. I'm never nervous at this meeting, and now I'm a little nervous. So I'll shake it off. And I want to thank Patch for giving me the opportunity to come to my home group and share some hope and some experience with you guys. I never really like to talk about how it was. I don't think none of us came here on a fucking winning streak. Okay, I didn't one day decide, hey, my life's great, man. I'm gonna go join Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm gonna go hang out at Alcoholics Anonymous because my life's fabulous and it couldn't be fucking better. So we all landed here for a reason. I qualify in the sense that when I put alcohol in my body, I have a reaction to it, physically and mentally, unlike others in my life. And once that substance takes over, all my thoughts, everything about me and what I stand for goes out the window. And it didn't start off like that either. So, growing up, I when I was little, I believe I always had the ism in me. I just couldn't get enough of whether it was candy when I was younger or playing hockey or chasing girls. It was always it wasn't enough. I always wanted more. And I met alcohol late in my life. I think I was pretty much graduating high school, and that's when I started drinking with a girlfriend I had at the time. So for me, it was I tasted it, I liked what it did, and I ran with it, And for a lot of years, it was fun. And someone said this the other night. Someone said it was fun, then it was fun with problems, and then it was problems with no fun. And that's exactly how it ended up for me. I love Chapter 3. Chapter 3, when I was coming into meetings, I was introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous in 2008 because of a DUI, right? And I had a Harley at the time too. So I would get drunk and high, and I would get on my Harley and go to these meetings. And I'd sit and I'd listen, I'd check out the girls, I'd get my court card signed, and I'd jam. But up until recently, when I hear Chapter 3, that reading speaks so loud to me because I'm the type of alcoholic where, again, in the beginning it was cool. Let's say, 1920 to 25. Those were the prime years of my drinking. We partied, we hung out, we were chasing girls, we were riding Harleys, we were having a fucking blast doing it. And no real consequences came, 2008, my first kid was born. 2008, I got my DUI. 2009, my second kid was born. And at that point, though, I was already a couple of years into problems with drinking and drugging. So yeah, I qualified because I've crashed cars, I've lost jobs, I've ruined relationships, I've burned fucking houses down. I've gotten in trouble with the law. I've disappointed my parents. I've hurt my kids. I fucked over friends. I fucked your wife. All that stuff that we do as alcoholics, I did. So clearly I think I qualify to, sit here in this room. So when I talk about Chapter 3 speaking loudly to me, it's because in 2012 I hit a real nasty bottom. 2009, my kid's mom took my sons, and she had enough. She packed them up in her stepdad's truck and took off. Moved in with her mom, left me up in Bakersfield in our apartment by myself. And at that point, I remember calling my dad and telling him, dude, I'm fucked. I have no idea what to do. I'm up here in this apartment, I'm going to lose it. He said, come down to LA, we'll figure it out, And, he mentioned something about, didn't you go to AA meetings or something a while back? Or, didn't you get that DUI? Why don't you go try those AA meetings? So I said, all right. So I started going, but I would go get a 6-pack, drink half of it before, go to the meeting, and then drink the other half, and then go back to his house. That only lasted about 2 months, and then he told me to kick rocks. He actually looked into the Los Encinas program, and then when he found out it was like 31 grand a month, he's like, good luck, buddy. Go find a fucking GR bed somewhere. And I know he said that because all he could do was love me from afar. I mean, there was no helping me, right? I mean, I'm not open to anyone's help because I think I can do it on my own. And then even if they do try to help, I don't want their help, or there is no help in me, you know? So over the course of the next, 2009, so over the course of the next 15 years, I tried every imaginable remedy. I felt at times that I was regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, inevitably followed by still less control, and then led me into the darkest of places. Like, I went from having a good time drinking to being locked up in my apartment for 4 or 5 days, blacked out on vodka, not having a clue what was going on. And that's what I put. My mom lives in Europe, so she kind of got the long distance version of all this shit. But my dad's the one that lives here in town, and he had to go to my apartment and come see if his son was alive. He had to open the fucking door, wondering what he's gonna find in there. That's where my alcoholism took me, you know. So I tried everything under the sun that I could think of to beat this thing, because a long time ago I figured out, you know what, alcohol is probably a fucking problem, you know. I don't really have a good coping mechanism. I don't really deal with life well. I'm not good at situations. I don't like emotions. So alcohol suppressed a lot of that and let me be who I wanted to be or who I thought I was. And then when you take that alcohol away from me, I'm like a fucking newborn, shitting in my diapers. I have no idea how to handle life, you know? So every time I'd get a little sober, I would want to go back and I'd want to beat this thing. I wanted to beat it, like I said last week, I wanted to beat it and then come back and tell it to you guys. Because I thought there was a way. I thought there was a way around this whole thing. You know, I didn't really have a problem with the whole alcoholic name or word or identifying, but I just thought I could get away with it, you know? And I tried every way possible. So, 2008 DUI, 2009 shit hit the fan. I came to LA. End of 2009, I went into the Salvation Army. I did 1 tour, 2 tours, 3 tours there. On the last one, I only graduated once from there. Went to a halfway house or shelter after, got loaded 2 days later. My 3rd tour at the Salvation Army, which is your last one, I did 3 months. I got the car, I got the job back, I left. 2012, another bottom. I got chased out of my mom's house. My mom was still living here at the time. She was living out in Palos Verdes in 2012. And my stepdad chased me out. He said, pack all your shit and get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't want you here. And so I called around and I got to the Royal Palms. And I walked up the stairs, thought like, man, this is, here I am again, you know? And I walked in, there was a counselor named Ronnie Brock. And he said, I'm going to give you enough rope to hang yourself with. You got MacArthur Park down the street. You got liquor stores on every corner. You know, you got fucking hookers and dope fiends everywhere. And it made sense, right? It made sense. Like put the alcoholic right in the midst of the shit, man, and see how well he does, you know? And yeah, I was, as a beneficiary at the Salvation Army, I did great. I never had a fucking yellow lanyard. I went to the Royal Palms, didn't get in any trouble. Perfect student. I did 6 months, I graduated, I stayed another 7, paying them rent and working. And I had a sponsor, and I did some steps. And we got to 8, and I made a list and didn't go any further. I never sponsored anyone. I went to meetings. I got about 3.5 years sober, and I couldn't even tell you what made me drink, but one night at a baby shower, I just drank. And I immediately came back the next day, went right back to the same club in Glendale and took a newcomer chick. Because there's always a part of me that thinks like, okay, I can't really drink. You know, I don't really know how to do that anymore. That doesn't work anymore. And I know that things are better and I feel better when I come into AA. So I would go drink, but I would come back immediately. Like to be totally honest with you guys, I'm only here by the grace of a God, because since I've been around these rooms for the last 14 years, I've seen so many fucking people die. And why am I still here? So, God's always been there. It was me that was turning my back and going the other way, trying to figure this thing out, trying to do it my way. You know, it's not my way anymore. There's no more Jakub's way. I've come to learn that this last time around. So, after my 3.5 years I drank, I came back, I got 3 years, COVID hit in 20. I got COVID through work. They put me on a 2-week paid vacation. I was 3 years sober, dry, no program, so I decided to get a couple bottles of vodka and watch Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy and get wasted in my apartment. Not knowing that really wouldn't help COVID either, because then I was like sick for like 5 weeks and I couldn't even test fucking negative to go back to work. So, but I put it down for a while and I picked it back up and I put it down and I picked it back up, and right around the time I got back from that COVID and I was back at work, I met this girl and we started hanging out, and yeah, I mean, talk about just, you know, dragging people through the fucking mud, man, and not caring, you know. And I used to think like I was so cool and I was such a badass, and come to find out I'm just a big fucking twat that's really scared, but I'm gonna put on this big tough attitude to keep you just enough away from me that you won't really know how my get down is, how soft I am, how sensitive I am, you know. And there was a point in our relationship, she told me, she's like, why didn't you just tell me you were an alcoholic? I'm like, yeah, that's a perfect fucking first date night opener, right? Hey, yeah, I grew up in Pasadena, you know, I got 2 sons. By the way, I'm a raging fucking alcoholic. I love hookers, I smoke crack, I end up in jail a lot. You might have to bail me out, but, you know, maybe we could work around that. I mean, I just told her, I said, honestly, I don't come into meeting people telling them that. Like, I feel really bad that you had to find out the way you did, you know. So, you know, once again desperate, and like, you know, the desperation came back, and now I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I had a buddy, really good friend of mine, who's still a friend of mine now. He worked at Impact, so he got me a bed. And I was once again desperate enough to go into Impact. I just let the apartment go. I got help through work. You know, we have an EAP program because by the grace of God, I got a job through the city, and with a little help from my dad. But, you know, and we're unions, so I mean, it was fucking amazing. I came to them, I said, look, I got a DUI, I got a fucking drinking problem, help. And they did. They paid me for 64 days while I went to rehab, you know. And once again, I gained a little knowledge, I gained a little self-respect. I once again saw the program working in my life, but I'm like, you know, I go into a sober living, and then here I am with this girl again, and like, I'm sober, and I don't know how to be in a relationship. I don't even know how to fucking take care of myself, and here I'm supposed to be caring about her feelings and my feelings, and, you know, life, and the kids, and the grandma, and the ex, and, you know, and I drank. I got 11 months, I drank. I got 7 months, I drank. I got 5 months, I drank. So Danny Thrasher, I love that man. I met him a long time ago at the McDonald Park meeting, because it was COVID and we were doing meetings in the park. So I saw him, this honest to God truth, I saw him and I was like, he's either an ex-cop or an ex-felon, because he had like the mustache and the build, and I was like, he's cool. That's a cool cop, or that's a fucking convict, dude. Either way, I'm gonna like him. So we get to being pals, and he's watching me like struggle and grow and sober and struggle, and, you know, I'm telling him, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I got a sponsor here, and this guy's a nutbag. I got a sponsor here, and he's not really walking the walk. So Danny calls me one night and says, hey man, come to this Wednesday night men's Stag, dude. Just come check it out. And I felt like the little fucking lost child that was dropped in a bassinet at the front steps of this family of men that have the same problem I do, that have found a solution, that are in the solution. They stay in the solution. Even if there's problems, they call other guys to figure out what to do next. And I never left. And I gave up co-ed meetings. I have a problem with pussy, okay? So for me, it was best, leave the co-ed, go with the men. Do the men's stags, stick with the guys, get in the fucking middle. I have a wolf pack in here. All you guys are my brothers, but let's be honest. You come into a meeting, you're gonna gravitate towards a group, right? So I found a certain set of guys that are now, I'm a part of a book study. I've never been a literature guy. Now I'm studying this shit. I'm reading the big book. I'm actually doing steps and I'm putting everything down honestly, right? I did a fourth step. We took, am I good on time? Okay. I did a fourth step. Now I did a fourth step in 2012, but I did a fourth step for my sponsor this time that I never thought I would, man. That fucking pen just wrote. There was like heat coming off of it. My hand fucking hurt. I wrote so much. But I wrote with every desire to tell that fourth step to my sponsor and get rid of this shit. Finally, like, if I'm drinking over something that happened 10 years ago, let me fucking get rid of it. I don't want it with me anymore, man. I want to be fucking free. I don't want this shit to drag behind me. I don't want to drink over anything. And last year we went up to Shaver Lake for one of the men's retreats, which the new guys, I highly fucking recommend signing up for that. I think this one's full, but I'm telling you, game changer, dude, game changer. So we're up at Shaver Lake. It's beautiful Sierra Nevadas. It's fucking, the weather couldn't have been perfect, more perfect. My sponsor rents a boat. We go out onto this glass lake, and I've never fished. I watched a buddy fish one time, but I've never fished. So he brings 2 fishing rods. We throw them out. We're letting the lines float. I'm reading them the fourth. Dude, it's you want to talk about spiritual experience. Whenever I heard spiritual experience, I'm like, God, man, that's so cool. I wish that would happen to me. I wish I would have one of those. I want one of those too. You know, and for the longest time, I thought spiritual experience is like some big white light coming and, you know, slapping you in the face, and all of a sudden, you know, I got this AA thing, you know. And no, I mean, for me, it wasn't a white light, but it was fucking incredible. It was an incredible experience. We're on the lake, and I'm reading this fourth, and it's all this garbage coming up, right? I'm regurgitating all these terrible memories, all this bullshit I did, all this fucking shady stuff I pulled, and all these people I hurt. And 4 hours into this boat ride, we're facing, I don't know, southeast or whatever, and all of a sudden there's just this giant shadow over us, right? And the whole time we're in this boat, there's a fucking little duckling following us. The whole time, the whole fucking boat ride. And we look back, and it's this bald eagle, like 10 feet away from our boat. And he's got this wingspan, and he's coming in on this little duck, and this little duck's fucking freaking out, like, wah, wah, wah. And he just swoops in and takes off and goes into these pines, man. And I'm like, God, dude, was that fucking God just like coming down and ripping that fourth out of my hand, that fifth, and taking it away? And like, dude, I was blown away, dude. I was blown away. That was the most incredible experience I've ever had. I got back to the camp. All these guys were hugging me like, right on, dude, that's killer, this and that. I'm crying. It was powerful, man. So fucking powerful. I'd never felt that in AA. And then it got better. And then I got to my 8th step, a men's list, and I wrote them all down. And then I columnized them into 4 lists of really important ones. The sooner or laters, the maybes, and the nevers, because the nevers will hurt people. And I got some people on that list. And when it comes time, you know, I'll make whatever amends I need to, however I need to. But when I got through that now, and my sponsor wanted that done before I hit my year, I'll tell you what, some of them were really intimidating, some of them were financial, some of them were easy, some of them were weird, you know. I had to go make an amends to one girl while we were on the last retreat. We were on the retreat in Idlewild, and she lived in Borrego Springs. So after the morning fire on Saturday, I shot out to Borrego, and the whole drive out there, I'm like, dude, she's single, like I'm going to her pad, you know, maybe we'll hang out, you know. And I called my sponsor, and I'm like, dude, you know what? I think I'm going into this men's all wrong, dude. And he's like, yeah, quit thinking. He's like, yeah, quit thinking with your dick, dude. Okay? And I'm so happy I had that experience, because that right there made me realize that even though this one still wants to take over, or maybe this one, I have a clear-cut set of instructions that I can call and ask, if not my sponsor, some other men in the program, what to do, because I went into that amends thinking the right way. It went great. We had lunch. I shot home, or back to the campground, and it was done, you know? And I never have to think about that again. I honestly, any amends I've made, I don't think I've ever thought about again. Like, for the longest time, all I could think about, my buddy Mike. My buddy Mike got married in 2001, I think. I showed up like an hour late. I was his best man. Spun ducky woo, fucking methed out. Like, my dog had a tuxedo. I'm holding him. I'm here, dude. You know, like, let's go, bro. And I mean, it's like I think I ruined his wedding, but I made the amends like 3 weeks ago, and he's like, dude, I never thought you ruined it, bro. I knew you were in a bad spot, man, but you were my brother. You came to my wedding. You showed up. That's all that mattered. And here I am 20 years later carrying this fucking shit in my head that all I think about when I hear Mike Williams is, I fucked his wedding up. How selfish is that? But the fact that I could think about it and then take it to him and him squash it, like, dude, there was never a problem, you know? So, 9-step amends, life-changing. Taking that year with you guys last week, absolutely amazing. I'm going to call that my first year ever, because I've never been in such a good place as I am now. Whenever I did take a year before, I've never been this far in the steps, and I've never had a man in my corner as amazing as the man that's there right now. Because I still think about my dad as my dad, and he's my life coach, you know. But now I have a man in AA that teaches me the way of how we do things in here. And I couldn't have asked for a better teacher. So I thank God, and I thank you guys for being here tonight.